Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. The tendency is in everybody to spend so much time dwelling on the past, rethinking things, often with regret, often with annoyance, sometimes with anger. And the other aspect, nice things that have passed, still dwelling on the past with regret that it's gone. It used to be so nice, it's not so nice. But that which is predominant in most of the people is dwelling on the past about things that have been annoying. Somehow we have not digested them, processed them, and they are still there in the subconscious, creating trouble, preventing us from being natural, from being at ease, at peace, connecting with our essence, instead of that, connecting with the mind, dwelling on the past. We can really empoison our experience now by thinking of the past and being irritated about things that have happened. And then it doesn't change a damn thing. It simply wastes our energy. And it opens up to something negative, something dark. And so we are attracting also dark energies and dark influences if we do so. It's good to become aware what is going on in the mind. It's good to become aware how much we are thinking and what we are thinking about. If somebody thinks of the past with joy about things that have happened and not with regret, even if they have passed, then we can borrow that joy and bring it to the present. Thinking about the past without attachment is nothing wrong. And then we are also not, if there is no attachment, we are also not tempted to dwell on it and turn it round and round and round. It's that attachment that is creating like a monster of the past, while it's just memories. There's only one point where we are touching reality. This is now, timelessly now. And yet, we are giving a reality to the past by thinking and brooding about it with emotion, with attachment, feeding our life force in a story that is just a story, that is just a memory. It's irrelevant. We can have a lot of useful information from that past memory, but that's about it. Somehow we have to learn not to hang on to it. When people tell me about their past and then they tell about difficult times, there comes so much emotion. There comes so much hanging on to, and it fills the atmosphere. And if people going along their daily work, but always brooding about the past. They fill their daily world, their daily experience with negativity produced by hanging on to emotions that are connected to the past. We can learn not to do so. It's a weight we are carrying along unnecessarily, that it's eating up our creativity, our inner beauty, our life force. The past is past. It's not a life except the life that we are giving it. It doesn't exist apart from a memory. The future is an expectations that we are also creating out of the memory of the past. Hanging on to the future is the same thing. We can hang on to the future with fear about certain things to come, and we are filling our present experience with that fear. It's all in the mind. The past and the future are all in the mind. To be capable to function practically, rationally, sometimes we have to think about the past, draw wisdom, draw information from the past, project it in the future, make little plans. There's nothing wrong with it if we are not emotionally hooking into it and turning it around and fearing it and hanging on with expectations. If we just rationally think about the past, about the future, and then let it be, making maybe plans at the same time, have that openness to accept that maybe it's turning out very differently. Without fear, if we learn to live in the present, the fear disappears. The fear is of the future, but created by hanging on to the past, thinking of things that have happened, projecting them in the future, and are afraid of how they could turn out. If we live in the now, we are not afraid, because now we become aware there is something that is not affected by what is happening. Something that is not simply a present moment in time, but there is a timelessness about the now that is prior to all this manifestation, that is unaffected by whatever we have done, what has happened, what we may do, what will happen, what others do. Nothing can destroy that, nothing can pollute that. It's ever pure. The timeless presence. If we live from that perspective, then life becomes playful. Then we draw information from the past where it's necessary, and otherwise we leave the past in peace because it's just a story. It's only now that life manifests. That manifestation is for a moment real, but it's continuously changing. It's not something to hold on to. And in spite of that, out of habit, one tries to hold on to all the time, clinging, clinging, clinging. In order to become aware what we are doing, we have to really turn the attention back and observe our own mind and become aware how much activity is there, how little that would be necessary to function reasonably from moment to moment, from day to day, from year to year, and how infinitely much more mental activity is there than that would be necessary. That capacity to form consciousness into reasonable thoughts, it's beautiful. We don't have to destroy that. We don't have to somehow smash that away. It's a beautiful tool to express that inner beauty. But by constant misuse, and everybody has the tendency to do so because we grew up in a world where everybody is doing so, and automatically the tendency is very strong. One just joins into the current and just also does the same. And then it's looked at as normal, and it becomes so habitual that we are not even aware how the thoughts are whirling all the time, how we are dwelling on the past, how we are creating tensions, how we are creating a heaviness unnecessary. Somehow or other, we have to learn to bring the attention to the present and be in that space of observation, that space that we don't have to create, it's already there. That observation is happening all the time. We just have to bring the attention back to that and see what's going on. What's going on day and night when we are dreaming, in the deep sleep at least. There it stops, but there we slip in a unconsciousness. Still, very beautiful unconsciousness because we are regenerating. All that mental activity is not necessary. Very little is necessary to fulfill our tasks. And even if we think of the past and negative emotions come, we can learn to step back and observe it and relax. And then what is stuck in the subconscious gradually will evaporate. And then the same thing that has been there nagging becomes just a story from which we can draw wisdom. Stories where we made grave mistakes, instead of dwelling on them with regret and thinking, oh, what a fool I was. See, okay, that is a clear lesson. That's not how it works. That will help us not to repeat the same thing. In order that this can happen, we have to really make that effort to become aware of what's going on in the mind all the time. And then not with frustration look at it and think, oh, it's terrible, it's hopeless, but just accept, okay, this is the case, this is the present situation. But if I learn to have a clear, honest look at it, if I learn to step back and relax, then gradually that tremendous activity that is going on is getting less and less. And then the thoughts also becoming clearer. To think clearly about the situation doesn't mean to think a lot about it. In contrary, by thinking little, the thoughts become clearer and we can see through things much more the way they are and then deal with them accordingly. Bring the attention back to the present. Learn to touch that sense of presence that is prior to the mind, prior to the creation, prior to the story, prior to the person. Make that your home and look at what's going on the physical level, on the mental level. And then when we see things that are not helpful, that create unnecessarily pain, we can start to really work on them and let them go. Instead of holding on to justifying my position, thinking about it again and again, mustering up anger and grudges against other people. We can just let all that go and then we are free and learn to believe naturally. learn to live our life the way it is meant to be, a playful, joyous journey through this time-space continuum, going through this human life, getting richer for the experience from moment to moment. How we are doing it doesn't matter. We just have to find our personal way how to go about it. That which is attractive, which comes natural. Create that little help that we can call up whenever we remember, no matter what we are doing. When we become aware in the midst of being amongst people, how our the thoughts are whirling unnecessarily, going round and round the same subject, using up our life form, just that we can learn to redirect the attention. The simple thing like breathing consciously and relaxing. The simple thing like asking the question, but who is thinking? The simple thing like opening the heart to God with a mantra or without a mantra, with visualizing a form or without a form, just learning to feel that divine presence that one is touching when one is asking, who am I? The divine presence, one becomes aware of it when one is breathing consciously, relaxed. And then use that tool that we have chosen as much as we can remember to do so until it becomes natural, until it happens spontaneously by itself. Then the tool is not necessarily needed. One may still continue to practice, use that tool to intensify the experience, to get stronger, but it's not more a need because once we are rooted in that sense of presence, then the interest that we're having without being quite aware of it in thinking all the time slowly starts to evaporate and the mind becomes quiet naturally. In that quietness, the past is not forgotten. The future is there as a possibility, but it is not more capable of pulling the attention away and absorbing it into unnecessary activities in a space that we're just creating at that moment that is not really there. It's only there as a memory. Here, now, timelessly now, is the only place we are touching reality. All else is in the mind. So it's good to become aware what we are thinking. It's good to become aware if we have the tendency to slip into negative thoughts and bring up a negativity, because then also in our present experience, you're opening up to negativity, and that negativity is attracting other negativity that is reinforcing that indulgence and has the tendency then to pull people down and down in a spiral into ever more dark spaces, into depression, into destruction. And there is a lot of that influence there right now. So it's simply necessary that we watch our mind, that we are not slipping into it, that we are not letting ourselves get pulled into that current, into that destructive current that is so hyperactive around the world now. We always have the possibility to step out of it. Use the tool that we are choosing to simply redirect the attention and come back to that sense of presence, which is always there, which is a haven, which is cannot be influenced, cannot be destroyed, cannot be manipulated. Come back home to that, and from here, that inner beauty will start to express itself. And if there are very strong negative thoughts and we cannot control them, then don't spend your energy trying to fight it, to fight it, to fight it. Okay, accept it, but accept it with a conscious openness. All right, come. Let the thoughts come. Let the emotions come. Let the energies come that are connected to it, but observe what they are doing right now in our psychophysical manifestation and learn to let go, learn to relax, not feeding it by holding on to it, not feeding it by getting over interested into it, not feeding it by fighting it, but simply observe and relax and let go, and there it starts to evaporate. And the old habit, if we deal with it again and again like this, will disappear to indulge into this kind of destructive thinking, feeling, behaving. And you are free and natural. And that inner beauty can express itself more and more clearly. Hari Om, Hari Om. Okay, my friends, now I have been talking. I'm asking you, is there anyone who would like to come and say something? You are welcome to do so. Hello.
Hello.
I don't know you, do I?
Yes, yes. Werner, uh, we know each other. Yes. In the 1990s, I was there in Amrapuri. I think you knew me as Lenny.
Oh, hey, lady, good old lady. Yes. I didn't
Uh,
recognize you.
I was doing sound system work in the Amrapuri ashram.
Yes, yes, I remember you. I simply didn't recognize you.
Yes.
Hello,
Uh,
but you're calling
very,
yourself Leo
well, my full name is Leonard.
Leonard.
Yes. So when I was younger, I was going by Lenny, which is a form of my full name. But
Yes,
for many years, I have preferred Leo, which is also a form of my full name.
yes.
But you're still Werner.
I'm still Werner.
It's nice to see you, even over Zoom.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. Uh,
I believe it was the monsoon season of 1995, which was a little while ago. Um, I was bringing you food to your cave every afternoon.
yes, you did for some
Yeah,
time.
months, yes. Um, and you were kind enough to chat with me on most of those days, as I recall. After I would bring you the food, I would sit in front of that little, it was like a gate entrance to your cave at the
Yes,
bottom of a short staircase, as I recall.
yes.
We had many nice talks. For me, anyway, they were nice talks.
Mm.
I quite enjoyed them. So I don't know if you recall, but I emailed you a few times over the years, including a few a few weeks ago,
Yes,
asking for details about logging into this session, and you sent the details.
yes. There you are.
Uh, yes, I told you that I'm currently in San Francisco. You mentioned there would be a time difference, and it is actually just about 2 a.m. now where I am.
Yes, yes.
But I just happen to be, feeling unusually awake tonight, so I figured I would log in.
You're welcome. Is there anything specific you would have liked to talk about?
Um, the first thing on my mind was just to say that it's nice to reconnect. Um, the last time that I recall seeing you was at Amritapuri, and I think it was the year 2000, and there was like a little going away party for in your honor in the Western Cafe.
Yes, you were there, huh?
So yes, I think that was the last time I spoke to you, and that was 25 years ago. So,
Yes,
it's been a little while.
yes.
But at some point in time, I heard about your YouTube satsangs. I think I may have noticed them on Facebook. So then I watched some and then got in touch with you about logging in. Um, I did not necessarily have um, like, um, some kind of overriding or important question. I am kind of curious naturally, how things have been going or working out for you for the last 25 years. It seems like you've been doing well in Tiruvannamalai.
Yes, yes. I'm not going to tell you now here on this song a story about my past 25 years, right? But we came here and are still here after 25 years in Tiruvannamalai.
Nice. I am
And
glad to hear it.
And then when the first lockdown was there, I used to do twice a day, twice a week, public satsangs. And then when the first lockdown was there, people asked me, couldn't you do on Zoom? Which was totally strange for me because the whole life I never had one computer. But then we started and it still goes on now after 5 years.
Yes, I'm glad it's still going on. It took me a while to catch on and log in and feel sufficiently awake at 2 a.m. You seem to be adapting well to the technology.
It for what I need that I know about it. Otherwise, I don't know a damn thing about it.
Yeah. I was in India up until, as best as I can recall, approximately 2006, and continued with the world tours with Amma.
Yes,
But I have been living in San Francisco, where I am now for the last 15 years. Um, and that includes the time since the onset of the pandemic and the aftermath of the pandemic. I ultimately just no longer really felt any particular need to be an Amritapuri. Um, and um, you were probably aware that Amma just completed a tour in Europe.
yes,
One or two people who still remember me asked me if I was going to come there. And again, I had been on that tour 10 times in the past, which is kind of a lot, and no longer really felt that sort of inner compulsion or draw that I just kind of had to be there,
yeah,
Instead, I mostly just feel, just perfectly fine being wherever I am, which honestly is a much more peaceful feeling than feeling like I need to chase out over the world somewhere.
yes. And if you feel so and you are at peace with it, then by all means follow your feelings. And even if other people come and say you should do this, you don't know what you're missing, and this need to be done, and everybody has their theories, how everybody knows always what others should do. They have
Mm.
always difficulty with what they are doing themselves, but they always know very well what others should do in order that they can get spiritualist, faster, advanced, or whatever. Follow your feeling. That which you feel comes from your heart mainly, and not from the calculating mind. Maybe if I invest more like this, then I'm getting more out of it. But follow what comes from your heart, and then you're at the right time, in the right place, doing the right thing.
Yes, that does make a lot of sense. These days, on a clear day from this little apartment, I can walk outside and see the Pacific Ocean about a mile away, and it's definitely very peaceful.
Yeah.
Um, there's I hesitate to use terms like inner guidance or things like that. I prefer like the most plain and directive speech possible. And I would simply say that being right here now just intuitively feels like the correct time and place to be.
Yes, and if you feel so, then don't let people disturb your certainty, or don't let yourself be talked out of it. The more you are capable of feeling what is right, and then following that. And it doesn't matter whether you want to call it inner guidance or whatever, intuition or whatever, but you follow that which comes from your heart, and then you are at peace with yourself. And if you let yourself convince to do something else, thinking maybe I'm still getting more out of it, then you are always in a conflict with yourself. And that you are at peace with yourself is absolutely the most important thing, because then you are capable to really connect with your real nature much better.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing I'm doing these days is a lot more yoga than I used to. From all those decades back, I recall that you sometimes spoke about a yoga practice, but I think I recall at some point you said something about having stopped it. But for myself right now, I have been getting more and more deeply into it. So, for example, I'm spending at least a bit of time almost every day on my head.
Mm.
That
Yes,
also has a very good feeling to it these days, much more so than it did in the past.
yes. And it's maybe not just incidentally, but that feeling came because actually we're living in a very special, not helpful, not wholesome time. There is on a material and an energetic level a continuous onslaught that tries to push us away from the light, that tries to push us more into our petty little stories. And it's certainly, if that comes naturally as it comes to you now, it's certainly very helpful to do a daily practice that keeps you not simply mentally sane, but also physically more energized,
Mm-hmm.
more vital. Because if we are not healthy, we can. Somebody is very strong, can be very not healthy and still connect. But most of the people are, after all, very influenced by their physical condition. If they are unhealthy, then suddenly the mind has the tendency to be totally locked on that level. So this has come spontaneously, and I think in this time it's a very good thing to do, to
Yeah,
regular
it's
practice like this. And yoga, as it if it is practiced properly. Now, yoga, I mean, it's sold in the West in many different ways, and it has become in many places more like a gymnastic just to show off their body. And that, of course, is not yoga. But yoga means reunite, reconnect. And then you can very well use the awareness of the breath and the physical postures to reconnect with that sense of presence. It can be very, very helpful. And right now, it's actually very useful.
That is definitely the way it feels for me. And again, it is very much an inner compulsion, I guess you could say, or intuition. Um, I do feel as if I've gained a lot from it over the last few years, perhaps particularly during, the pandemic time when things were shut down.
Mm.
It was very good for sanity. Um, as you were just saying a moment ago, it often leads more or less, as a matter of course, into some breath awareness and sometimes some more meditative states.
Yes, yes. If yoga is, that's what yoga is meant for. If yoga is properly practiced, then that's what is happening because that's the point of it. Yes, nice, great. Continue like this. About my yoga, yes, I did yoga since I was 14, and then in the first years I did had my daily yoga schedule. Then later, actually, I did less the proper yoga exercises and started to practice a series of exercises that became known in the West as the five Tibetans, which I did for 25 years. And then for some time I stopped it. Not so long ago, but for 5 years I didn't do it because I felt it's it's not simply a physical exercise, but an energetic exercise. And I felt that energetic effect I can easily have even without doing the exercises. But then when I felt that the pressure on this material level is increasing, then I started them again, and I'm doing it again regularly, adding one or two yoga exercises to it. So I'm doing also that.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. That's very interesting. Kind of what you were saying a moment ago, it seems like you're just following the spontaneity of your practice.
Yes, I mean, when I pick up a practice, I may do that regularly, not just like people who usually talk about spontaneity. Today I don't feel like, I don't do, tomorrow I do. Uh, but to basically follow what comes, what feels most helpful at the right time. And now it has felt helpful that I continue, start again regularly practicing that, at least that series of the five Tibetans. And if the time is there, I'm adding other things to it. Mm.
Interesting. There were also some practices that Amma gave me in ancient times, like late 1980s or early 1990s,
Yeah.
or something so long ago that it's almost like a memory of a memory instead of a memory. Um, but a lot of that comes back to me now. And like I won't go into too much detail of what it was, but it involved various, visualizations that I was surprised to hear from her at that time, but which seemed to work for me more and more.
Yeah. So I guess she put the seed there, knowing that at the right time it will blossom. That's
Yeah,
nice. Nice to hear.
it took maybe 20, 25 years before some of those very early suggestions from Amma became a daily thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But at a certain time and place, they were um, the right thing.
Yes, great. Then continue. Continue that basic guideline. What you feel from your heart, what feels right, follow that. And even if sometimes, after some time, you may feel, okay, it's not more necessary, then you can also drop it again. But that is the safest, the sanest course if you learn to follow what really truly comes from you and not what people tell you should and should not do.
Yeah, I agree, but it's nice to hear. I appreciate the idea.
Good. I mean, shall we leave it at that? Because basically it is not a space to catch up personally.
Understood. Um, I appreciate all the advice, but I was just going to take a moment to say hello anyway.
Yeah. Yes, yes, that was nice. And I'm sure nobody did mind that.
No, I'm sure they've appreciated the stories from back in the 90s.
Yes. And I appreciate to see you and see you in a good space like this.
Yeah, generally weirdly good, actually. I mean,
Weirdly good.
I, I'm perfectly aware of the generally troubled state of the world that you refer to, and yet I just continue going about things more or less in my own generally happy way.
Right.
So
That's also the best contribution, not only for yourself, but that you can give to the world. If you keep yourself in that space, then you contributing that this destructiveness, this darkness that is very active can pass faster.
yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense. All of this brings back memories from talks from 30 years ago.
Very good.
Um, Good memories.
Good memories. Okay, we leave it at that for today.
Mhm.
Huh?
Sure.
Nice to see you. Hario. Hario.
So,
Is there is there anybody else who would like to come in and say something? You are welcome. Doesn't seem the case today. So, I mean, if you have something else you would like to talk, Leo, then we can as well continue because it doesn't seem the case that somebody else is right now eager to come in.
maybe they liked hearing our conversation. Um, After I think it was a 5 year absence, Alma did return to the United States last year in the summer of 2024. So one of her stops was here in this San Francisco Bay Area, and I saw her there. Believe it or not, I was, after all these decades, recruited back onto some sound system work, but I did not go on the tour. I just helped to arrange things for the tour. And I went to that one tour stop in this San Francisco Bay Area, and Amma was still doing her Devi Baba Darshan. I don't know if it continues because everybody at that time was saying how she was going to stop. But she did it on that occasion, and I went up to her. Had not seen her for many years at that point, mainly due to the pandemic interruption. So I come up to her and she looks at me, and as best as I understand Malayalam, she looked around at everyone and pointed at me and said, "Who's this? Who is that?"
Mhm.
She did, of course, recognize me, and basically just kind of asked me, "So, what have you been up to?" And I gave her, a very brief rundown, since, of course, she was seeing many people that night. Um, and she said that she was a very happy mother. She said that in English, actually.
Ah, yeah.
Um, and the thing about it for me, though, was that the reason this came to mind is that um, it felt like just about any other moment. And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
Not that it was a disappointment, but that, you know, um, everything else is just a lot more even in general than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, by telling you she's a happy mother, it's a way of approving how you are what you are doing with yourself and your time, and an encouragement to continue to do so.
Yes, I certainly like to take it that way. As you're well aware, there were plenty of times in the past where she reacted around me and many others in a less pleasant manner for whatever purpose that may have served. But on that occasion, yes, it was all um, very not just very pleasant and personal, but you know, after seeing someone after a long absence, sometimes it's like um, there was no time or separation in between at all. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yes. Well, time is relative. For that divinity, there is it's continuously present. It's just the timeless present. And from there, one may drop into some point of time space, or drop into another time point of time space. But in reality, even if on the manifest level, time is going on, time is passing, in the reality, it's just present.
I
And once you
agree.
have connected so strongly with a being like Amma, that presence is there. If you
Yes,
don't,
that's
if you don't willfully push it away.
right. That is what it feels like.
Yes.
It did not honestly even feel necessary to head over to that program when she was here in 2024, but it was so close, it would
Yeah.
have seemed odd not to.
Yes. Sure. All right. We try to stop once more. Hari
But I
Om.
appreciate,
Hari Om. Yeah,
I appreciate the feeling of old times in this conversation.
that's good. After all, yes, you basically saw me only in the cave. No, just when I came out in that goodbye thing.
Okay, I saw you once before the cave, and for me, this is an interesting story. Perhaps others would find it interesting too. I don't know. I may have mentioned it to you once before, but that would have been more than 30 years ago. I did see you at least once before the cave, and uh, on my end, it was a very interesting experience. If I may briefly relate, this was, I think, in late 1991, as far as I can remember. You may recall better. This was when you returned to Amritapuri.
Yeah, it was in January 93 when I returned.
Okay, then I was off by about a year and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
It was when you came back. Um, and there was some little room where Westerners were getting chai, and I had not met you, but I had, everybody had heard about Werner and how he had been meditating in the cave. But I walked into this room where all the Westerners were getting chai, and unbeknownst to me, you were already in there, and you were talking to somebody else who you seemed to know. But when I stepped into the room, I just kind of got this momentary sensation of something almost slamming into me. It's hard to describe. It was, on the one hand, a subtle sensation, and yet on the other hand, it was also powerful, which is hard to describe.
Hmm.
And I looked around and had not met you before, but I just knew that the person over there was Werner, and that he had something to do with what I had just felt. And like in a flash, even though I had never met you, I knew that we'd be getting to know each other better,
Hmm.
all like in the blink of an eye. And that was before you went into the cave.
Yeah. And so it happened after that. Yeah. Uh, all right, let's stop
Yes,
our
I
catching up
I
and reminiscing.
yes, I do mostly know you from those cave talks. That is, of course, true.
Right, right. Hmm. You're anytime when you're awake so early or still awake, and you feel like you're always welcome to join into the satsang. Hmm.
Yeah, thank you. I have thought about it a number of times over this last 4 or 5 months. It's just that, it's now 2:30 a.m. and if I'm awake at this point, I usually don't have much energy. But tonight, I guess it was just meant to be. Shortly before the start time of this satsang, I remembered that it would start at 1:30 a.m. my time. And I realized that I felt fine for whatever reason. And so it was just felt like the time and place to jump in.
Yeah, great. Okay, now we really stop. Wish you well. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Yeah.
And again, I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who would like to come in? Don't feel sort of discouraged because we had this friendly catching up session here. You come and bring your thing in as you feel like as usual. Hello, Andreas.
Hello. Um, could you give any advice what you can do to stop this constant thinking about oneself? Apart from probably like apart from trying to be present, or is this the basic thing?
Yes, I mean, I'm saying, and many say, come to the present moment, but that doesn't mean we should get obsessed with the experience on this material level, in the present moment. It's also just a momentary flicker, but in that momentary flicker, in the present moment, you are touching reality, that timelessness. That's why it's very helpful to bring the attention to the present moment, but not get stuck then on the details of the experience of it, but bring the attention back to that which is experiencing. Now, how to think less about oneself all the time? By stop being so interested in it. we feel it's so very, very interesting to always go about it. And even if it's ugly stories and we feel bad and feel regret or feel frustration and anger, then still there is that unhealthy interest there, that we are sticking to it. Like people sticking to a horror movie. Sticking to that story and holding on to and turning it around. And there, when we catch ourselves doing so, then use your way of redirecting the attention, of bringing it away from the stories, bringing it to the present, whether you are doing it through inquiry, whether you are doing it by watching the body sensations, whether you are doing it by devotion, whatever. Just use your way to redirect the attention to the fact that you are, to being, instead of remembering whatever has happened, instead of imagining what I am going to do, what could happen, learning to be consciously, consciously alive now, and learn to relaxing it. For the mind, it's a bit scary to be in the now, because then it stops. And then there is that fear of something, maybe something valuable gets lost or is disappearing. But what we can lose is all that unnecessary baggage that we are carrying along. We are not losing anything valuable. What we lose is all those barriers and those tensions and those things that disturb us from naturally simply being. That is absolutely positive to lose. But for the mind, it may be a bit scary, and then immediately flip out again, just to protect itself, the habit of turning round and round. But then there is no other way to go about but just go about it again and again and again and again. That when we become aware how much the attention is again going all over the place, getting lost. I mean, I'm not saying to remember things in itself is wrong, but what is happening most of the time, we are not even aware that we are remembering things, that we are thinking things, and just unnecessarily getting involved emotionally and turning it around and round, and not aware how much this is draining us. And then the way to go about it is to become aware that we are doing it, and then redirect the attention to bring it back to that simple being instead of thinking and doing.
What's the role of psychological sanity in that? In the way that I think, like, if you have a lot of hang-ups, you might get into problems with other people sometimes, or start to some emotions get aroused, and that makes it more difficult to detach from the whole personal story.
Right. It needs already a certain amount of sanity to at all be interested in that, to at all attempt it. And if there is too much mental disturbance and people are too much mentally unbalanced, then most probably they do need the kind of psychological work that you do, that you are doing with people as a psychologist, that before you can tell them, hey, come on, just let go and be, because it would be so totally strange to them that they couldn't do anything with it. It needs also already a certain amount of sanity that you at all attempt it. But then the more you really learn to be, the more you become sane. Because our insanity is always because we are emotionally getting overwhelmed by things that are not worth to get overwhelmed by, that emotionally we are being pulled here and there, to and fro, to things that are not worth to get so worked up about it. So the more you can just be, the saner you are.
A lot of it comes automatically, like in the interaction with other people, that you have like certain feelings or so. And it's, yeah, in the moment, when it happens, it's always very difficult to get detached from it, I find.
Right. I mean, the feelings, the emotions, emotional reactions, they will be there as long as you are appearing in a human form. The whole range of emotions as a potential is there, and it can spring up any moment that you just, there is an emotional reaction. That is not the problem. The problem is that we are holding on to, that we are getting interested in it and making it bigger and bigger, and then it becomes destructive. Otherwise, even if there is an emotional reaction to people, what's nothing wrong with it? Sometimes it's more sympathetic and sometimes it's less sympathetic to the emotions that come up. But even if a non-friendly emotion comes up, but you see it, you deal with it, you deal with this situation, it comes, it goes, it doesn't leave a trace. It becomes destructive when we hold on to it. And by holding on to it, we feed our prana into it. And if we feed our life force into it, then it becomes bigger and bigger. And then the big emotion can be very destructive.
I like the term losing your self-importance very much.
Yes.
And that's what you just talked about, right?
Right. That's
You know,
what I talked about. That's what I'm always talking about. That we stop taking ourselves as a person so important and give importance to that which is prior to the person, to that sense of presence that is always there, whether the person appears or disappears, whether the person does this or that, that which we are touching when we say I. I, without the story, without starting to think I'm like this, I'm like that, and I was born then, and I have this and that capacity and weakness and the whole story, but just you say I. Immediately you're touching that sense of presence. So uh, giving up self-importance means learning not to be so obsessed with that personality, which is just a role that we are playing in this theater. It will still be there even if you are detached, because that role goes on. So that personality is there, but when we see it as a role, then we stop taking it so serious. Because what matters is that which is prior to it, unaffected, unconcerned, unattached. At the same time, always watching, always aware what's going on.
one of my hang-ups is that I always ask, or a lot of times ask myself, am I doing it right? Like, for example. So this is,
I mean,
just have to drop.
nothing wrong trying to do the things right that you are doing, but also that should not become a personal obsession, because then it becomes again my self-importance, that me, I want to be a perfect person. I want to do it right because of that, because also then I expect a positive feedback from the people around me. But to do things basically right, nothing wrong with that, and have a check it, but not get obsessed with it.
Okay.
And sometimes things work out, and sometimes they don't. But then if it has not worked out the way I wanted, what I attempted to do. So what? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, sometimes it feels a little bit stupid I had the experience that I only begin to understand what you're talking about, like listening to you for a long time.
I mean, you have understood all the time, but more and more it's sinking in also, not simply on a level of understanding, but it's touching the core of you, the heart. Anyhow, don't hesitate, in spite of the years that we had contact, to ask your questions, and you feel like asking your questions.
Yes. the the online satsang is very helpful for that because it's much more. To me, it's easier to focus on what you say when instead of compared to the live satsang on the roofs, and
Yeah,
it's so together. So it's like when it's every week and it not only like once a year when I'm in Tihu.
yeah. Right. Okay, shall we leave it at that?
Thank you very much again.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Yo.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Hello, Nava.
Hi, Werner. To continue about thoughts and runaway thoughts that go on and on and on. During the day, I have different ways of dealing with that.
Mm.
But often in the middle of the night, I will wake up and it will start, and I seem to have no way of dealing with it. I seem to be more vulnerable during the night when I can't sleep. And the things like going to the breath, or it doesn't seem to help.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure how to deal with it at night.
right. Yes, in the day we are usually so busy that one doesn't feel so vulnerable. While in the night, when you just wake up from sleep and then you can sleep again, you're more prone to being overwhelmed by the thoughts and the emotions that come. And you said that it doesn't work like it works in the day, that you go back to the breath. Still, you can do so, and I'm sure if you do it long enough, then it's also doing the job again. But if you feel it's just too overwhelming, it's not really working as fast as you would like, then sometimes it may be okay that you just sit up. When you are in the bed and you wake up and you can't sleep, and it's pulling you this way and that way, that you just sit up for some time and sit and meditate in the night until you start to get a little drowsy again. And then you lie down and sleep if it's getting too hard. But otherwise, my experience is also when the mind thinks, oh, it doesn't do anything, but if you after that you still come back to something like come back to just breathing consciously and you go on, it may take longer than during daytime, but eventually it still will do the job, I'm sure.
It can take from an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah,
And that's a long time to be in the thoughts. But they keep coming back. That's a long time to be awake at night.
Yeah, right.
Um,
And if you would like to sleep, then 2 hours seems to be a very long time.
exactly. Exactly.
Right. But then maybe there you just take the decision, okay, right now, anyhow, I'm not falling asleep. So may just sit up. Maybe even stay in the bed, make yourself comfortable, sit up and meditate. There you also recuperating when you are meditating, and eventually you may get drowsy, and then you can lay down again and go to sleep.
I will try that.
Yes,
Just yeah, I
it
think I'll
needs a
try
bit
that.
to push then to take the decision, because you're lying there, you want to sleep, and then you don't want to sit up, but then wanting to sleep and can not sleep, then you get all worked up. So maybe then it's better to push a moment. Okay, then I accept right now, anyhow, I'm not sleeping. So sit up and do your meditation. And that is calming down. And then sooner or later, because you are tired, the drowsiness will come. And then you can lie down and sleep.
Yeah, I think I'll try that because the other is not working.
Yes.
That's fine. A little extra meditation is fine. That's good. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
You can tell me one day how it worked.
Okay, I will do that.
Yes. Wish you well. Hario.
Thank
Hario. There anybody else who would like to come in?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Leela.
Today again, I missed the meeting because I thought 12:30, not 11:30. I'm not used yet to the change of the
Yes.
time.
And
So I have
I just ask you first, before you tell me anything, how is your hip? How is your health? Can you move about?
yeah, I started walking without the stick today
yeah.
all of a sudden.
I see.
Yes, as yesterday, I thought I would never let go of the stick. All of a sudden, just yeah, so I'm walking equal on both legs, and I have the stick in my hand, but I can actually already walk without it. So
Great news.
yeah, I'm extremely tired though today, but yeah, I'm getting yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
So, but I'm sure it's not only about this that you wanted to talk.
No, I wanted to talk about something different and maybe simple, maybe not. I have a Facebook friend who he puts like short something on Facebook every day, like things he writes or whatever. So today he wrote something like you heal, you grow, and you help others. So it sounds like great, very simple, and also very linear. And I felt that things don't usually work so linear in life. Like you heal, you grow, and then you help others. But it goes like once you heal, then there are other elements coming in. Once you grow, there are again new elements coming in. So it's like it's going like that, not so much like linear.
Yes. It must have sounded like this when he put it in words, as if it was first stage, second stage, third stage. But of course, this always is happening simultaneously. You keep on healing, you keep on growing, and you helping others by doing so.
Okay. It's a continuous process.
It's a continuous process, and the three are happening simultaneously. Even if you live your life all by yourself, but if you keep on connecting, if you keep on growing, then you are also helping others. We are not islands. We are not disconnected. That sense of separation is an illusion that we are holding on to when we're holding on to that me personality. We are all connected, and whatever we are thinking, whatever we are doing, whatever we are feeling has a connection with the collective consciousness. When we think negative thoughts, we are influencing negativity in a negative way and rather supporting destructive manifestation. But if you are healing yourself, if you are getting more and more harmonious, then automatically that process is already helping. And then at the same time, in the day-to-day life, if somebody comes along and you feel that here and there to give a helping hand, this happens then spontaneously. You don't have at a certain time to become a professional good doer helper.
Yeah.
Right.
So, healing yourself or healing myself is a non-end process. Like it's never like, okay, now I'm healed, so fine, the work is done, the job is finished. I suppose that life brings on all kind of surprises, like for me this, but it's wider. And so healing myself is an ongoing process. I'm never really healed, and I'm never really, well, sometimes we are really sick, yes. But I feel it's an ongoing process. I have to be on it, like to be aware.
Right. And, in a way, it's a diseased condition where humanity is at, where everybody is living, connecting with something that is not what it's just a reflection, identifying with something that is not what they are. So healing means you keep on healing until you become aware that you are not that person, that you are that sense of presence that is prior. And so that healing process, that growing, the healing and the growing come together. That healing, growing process is not something that we do in isolation, but something that is connected with the whole rest of manifestation. But especially as long as we are humans, we are specially connected with the whole human collective consciousness. And if somebody is on that way and keeps on healing and growing, then you do already help others simply by going through that process, because everyone who has walked that path has made it a bit easier for everybody else.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
If there is anybody else, there is more time. You're welcome to come in. If not to be the case, okay, let's just spend a few minutes continue being connected and simply be. helping each other in that room that we have created together energetically, just to be present. If we are sitting somewhere, it's good to sit comfortable and maybe somewhat straight, but it doesn't need to be stiff. Just be comfortable. No thinking about I should maybe have said something. No thinking what I have to do after. Just be here. Consciously conscious. Consciously alive. And relax. Relax the tensions in the body that want to build up. Relax energetically. If the mind comes and starts to push, oh, I should do this, should do that, relax. Let it go. And just be. Thoughts want to come. Thoughts seem to be important. Just don't get interested. We need not even fight them. Just don't be interested. Redirect the attention and come back to that immediate, direct awareness of being here, conscious, alive, and relax. Let go, relax. that urge to think just out of habit, you come and push. Don't get interested. It's just a habit that forces us to do so. Simply be. Consciously. Life. And relax. Come home. Turn to yourself. Home to that divinity. That is truly what you are. It's your birthright to be aware of it. Come back home and relax. And gently, we can become again more aware of the details of the body, vitalize the body. So after that, we can again move freely. But even if we after that go out, engage in the daily tasks, or with people, we still can always come back and rest in that simple sense of presence. And more, just be aware, observing the activities that are going on, becoming more and more aware that no matter what is happening, this space of peace and stability is never absent. I wish you all well. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.